Good afternoon. I am so excited that you're here. I am happy today to be talking about what negative emotion brings to the table. So, what this is going to look like, I'm going to teach for about 15 minutes and then I'm going to open the floor for questions and live coaching. If you want to ask an anonymous question, use the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. If you want to come on for live coaching, raise your hand. I'll stop the recording to protect your privacy, and we'll bring you on and actually can talk face to face about how this is applying to your life. So here we go. Negative emotion. It's a lot of fun, right? Negative emotion is not a lot of fun, which is why a lot of times we fight it, right? It's inspired this week because it's been raining all week, and I hate the rain. I hate it. I hate the darkness. I hate the wetness. I hate the cold. I hate it. And so I've been deep in my feels of the negative emotions. And there is this overarching idea that we have the right to pursue happiness, right? There's also this overarching idea that when we are in negative emotion, we should get out of it as quickly as possible. So we do that in a couple of different ways. We avoid it, right? So we do what we can do to kind of sweep it under the rug and act like it's not there. So maybe we numb it out with food or distracting ourselves with social media or with work. Maybe we resist it. So we pretend it's not happening and I'm fine and you're fine and we're all fine. Everything's great here. I'm really great. So we pretend that things are fine. We pretend that it's not happening. We fake it till we make it. All sort of kind of telling lies the whole way around, because what we're really feeling is something awful, but we're resisting it. We're pretending it's fine. And sometimes we act out. So this is the method I choose is just rage. This week, it's been just like, I'm mad about everything. I'm mad about the way the leash bends. I'm mad about the coffee temperature. I'm mad about all of it. And I'm just rage. And so I'm acting it out. I'm not feeling it. I'm not in it. I am just like blanket, everything's terrible because one thing's terrible. So why do we do that? Why do we avoid? Why do we sweep it under the rug? If what we should be doing is pursuing happiness, then there's the idea that if we are in negative emotion, we're not pursuing what we should be doing, so we're wrong. We make it wrong to be in negative emotion. So if I'm wrong, I don't want to be wrong. That's one of my biggest fears in life, right? I don't want to do it wrong. We got to get out of there quickly, right? So it's been funny because what I've been doing to kind of get out of there with this rain situation is I'm like counting the days. It's been raining for 3 days. It's still raining. It's 5 days now. It's still rain. I'm still wet. I'm looking at my weather app and I'm seeing rain. And then I go out and it's raining again. And I'm incredulous, like something terrible has happened to me. It's someone else's fault. And it's happened to me and I am irate about it, right? It doesn't make sense. I'm also using this fatalistic language. I can't handle this anymore. Well, I mean, I am handling it, right? I'm still in this world. I'm handling it. I'm wet, or I'm using an umbrella, one or the other. It's not true that I can't handle it. What's true is I don't want to handle it. I could just not prefer the rain, but what I'm doing is making how I feel very wrong. Why do we do that? Why does it matter if we're making it wrong? Why does it matter if we feel negative emotion? You may be saying to me, Missy, I do want to pursue happiness. And why wouldn't we? Happiness is fun. Happiness is easy. Happiness feels really good. Why shouldn't we pursue happiness? Of course we should. And I mean, hey, listen, I'm not arguing. I love it as much as everybody else does. Like, let's go be happy. I'm in. Yes, let's be happy. So, but then what happens if we're not happy? Then that rejection. And the first thing that I want to say that negativity, not negativity. That's not where we're going, because negative emotions are not the same as negativity. Positive emotions, being happy, are not the same as positivity. There's that whole concept of toxic positivity, where we are faking it, where we're not feeling any emotion, where we're just being in a good space no matter what, even if we're truly not. And that it negates the beautiful opportunity. I call it beautiful. That might be a little bit of a silver lining, but the one opportunity of seeing ourselves in negative emotion. So what does negative emotion bring to the table? It brings the opportunity to feel what you feel, to be real with yourself. I'm in a situation and I feel uncomfortable. Instead of getting out as quickly as possible, why am I uncomfortable? Can I name what flavor of discomfort I'm feeling? Can I actually name my emotion? An interesting thing that I do is all emotions typically fall into two buckets. Negative emotions typically fall into the bucket of anger or shame. They're the easiest ones for me to get to. Anger, I can just bam, rage. Shame, I can, I'm wrong. I can easily make myself wrong in any situation. But is it really what I'm feeling? If I'm feeling any range of frustration, easy to show frustration and anger, or uncertainty, easy to say I'm doing it wrong, shame. So this opportunity, what is negative emotion giving us? It's kind of like a flag. Hey, let's just notice something here. Notice where you are. Notice, I'm feeling uncomfortable. What is that discomfort? Maybe sometimes it is shame, but maybe it is frustration. Maybe it is confusion. Maybe it is looking at, I'm not undecided. I'm uncertain. All of these can lead to clarity. When you ask the question, what's taking me there? So number one, it's an opportunity to be real. Number two, it's the opportunity to ask the question, why am I here? Why am I uncomfortable? So when you go through an emotion instead of around it or sweeping it under or denying it, shoving it in a closet and holding the door closed, you can feel the emotion. Some people find a lot of value by saying, where is it in my body? Am I feeling tension in my shoulders? Am I feeling a shortness of my breath? Am I feeling a clenching in my chest, or like maybe a nausea in my tummy? What am I feeling in my body? Because that's what emotions actually are. We have thoughts in our mind based on whatever's happening around us. Circumstances are happening. We have thoughts about it. Those thoughts play out in emotions in our body. That's the body's way of processing what we're thinking. And so you can, as you're actually identifying your emotions, you can ask the question, why am I feeling this way? I feel uncertain. That feels terrible to me. Why am I feeling that way? Well, I'm feeling that way because I'm not comfortable with what I know in this situation. I'm not sure what the outcome might be if I make this decision or that decision. I am feeling I'm questioning whether this would work out in the way I want it to, or, it's all of these different little questions, these little nuances of why am I feeling this way? If I'm in a negative emotion, for instance, if I feel like something has gone wrong, I can ask myself the question instead of what my old self would have done, would just beat myself up, right? I would have been like, you're wrong. You did it wrong. You hurt this person. You said the wrong thing. You wore the wrong clothes. Who knows what it might be? But, in all of those versions, I'm wrong. But when you can say, why do I feel wrong? Then you can kind of key into seeing yourself. You can become the outlook, the outside looking on to what's happening with you and get a little bit better relationship. I say this in almost every class that I host. It's all about the relationship with everything. It's about our relationship to ourselves right now in order to figure out where we want to go. It's about our relationships with what we think we did in the past that are affecting how we feel right now. The relationship we have with money gives us a urge to dig deeper into it or to run from the idea of it. It's all in the relationship. So number one, negative emotions give us the opportunity to be real with ourselves. It gives us, number two, the opportunity to see ourselves and build a relationship. When we can understand and see ourselves, we can say, oh, it makes sense you're feeling that way. I see you in your anger. I see you in your grief. I see you in your this feeling of injustice in this situation. It makes sense. You get the opportunity to validate yourself and look a little bit deeper. The third part of that looking deeper is when you see the how it makes sense why you're where you are in that negative emotion, you get to make the choice to be intentional about where you want to go. What do you want? If what you want is to clarity, what would that look like? How, not even how, sorry, but what would it feel like when you got there? So when you're being real with your emotions, you're naming the emotion, you're feeling it in your body, and you're asking the question of, why am I feeling this way? What am I thinking that makes me feel this lack of clarity or emotion or grief or whatever it is? Then you do the same thing to the opposite. So you say, I don't enjoy this feeling of uncertainty. Maybe I want to feel this emotion of clarity. I feel like I'm doing it wrong. I'm not figuring it out. Would clarity be, I'm learning things to make the right decision. I'm figuring out how to do this thing. I'm learning how to see myself in my grief, in these challenges, in this anger I feel in a relationship. Name the emotion you want to feel. Really get into your body and how that would feel if you were there when you get there. Start to build the relationship with the thoughts that get you there. Know, oh, figuring it out will give me the sense of clarity. I'm on my way to figuring it out, gets me to that sense of clarity. So you're giving equal weight to the negative emotion and being real and clear about it, and the positive, where I want to go instead, the pursuit of happiness. I'm not denying the negative emotion as wrong. I'm seeing it for where it is. And then I still get to pursue happiness, not by sweeping it out, but by seeing it clearly and then deciding what I want. I have always hated when people say happiness is a decision. Making money is a decision. And I'm like, haven't I already decided that? Like, I'm in. Like, I decide. Okay, done. Give me the dollars. But the truth is, the decision is I will be intentional with where I want to go. That's the decision. When I am intentional in my negative emotion, I build a relationship with it. I get to know it. I understand it. I see it. I empathize with it. That may sound crazy to you, but when you're not busy sweeping it away, get away from me, I'm running from it, I'm denying it. When you're not so busy distracting away from the negative emotion, you realize that every emotion is in a wave. They all pass. They all go on to something else. They don't last. The good ones don't last forever. The bad ones don't last forever. So if you feel that fear that I may be here forever, know that that's not true. You won't be there forever. Every emotion takes about 90 seconds to roll. Some of them take longer. But if you were to set a timer to a feeling and really just get in it, I bet you would feel a shift within that 1.5 to 2 minute mark, 5 minutes. Give it a try, give it a whirl, see what happens. But when you build that relationship to where you are when you're uncomfortable, can you then see the best? That's like the worst case scenario, right? Can you also see the best case scenario? And that's the decision. I'm going to put my energy into getting to know that a little bit better also. So negative emotion gives you the chance to be real with yourself. It's a flag saying, hello, I am right here, right now. It's getting intentional. Number 2, it's building that relationship between where you are and where you want to go, being intentional. So in both cases, you're going to name the emotion that you're feeling. You're going to notice how you're feeling it. What does it actually feel like? And you're going to ask yourself, what is causing this? It's a thought that's causing it. You're going to think, oh, well, it's the rain. But I know it's not the rain because some people love the rain. And the truth of the rain is, it is wonderful. It produces lovely green grass and beautiful flowers. I just don't like the way it feels when I don't have sunlight on my face for that long. So it's not wrong that I feel in negative, but do I have to stay there? No, I don't. I get to say where I want to go. I get to also see the other side. And wherever, the saying, the grass is greener on the other side, the grass is green where it gets watered. So the decision is where you get to put your energy, where you get to say, I'm not going to deny this emotion. I'm going to build a relationship with exactly what it's all about. And then I'm going to take that and decide where I want to go and build that relationship with where that's all about. And then I'm going to water that grass and it's going to be green and lovely. That is the pursuit of happiness. That is the not running from negative emotion. It's seeing the flag of, what do I need to notice right now? How can I build a relationship? And where am I going? Tell me what questions you have. Tell me what this brings up for you. Does it seem like, oh, that's easier said than done? Do you feel a negative emotion in this, in just having this conversation, right? Sometimes building, even talking about negative emotion feels a little negative, right? You get in that negative emotion. So One person says, I don't know how to feel it in my body. And I will say, thank you for that. Um, sometimes I don't either. Sometimes I feel like I'm just wearing a cloak, like it's all over me and I don't know where inside my body. That the feeling it inside your body is a tool. It's not the only tool. So, in answer to your question, if you don't feel it in your body, if you don't know how to do that, you can kind of go through your body. Do I feel it in my head? Yes or no? Do I feel it in my shoulders? Yes or no? Do I feel it in my midsection? Yes or no? You can kind of scan the body in sections and say, what do I feel? It's an option to build that relationship with that tool. Or you can just get curious and kind of be more general about it and say, when I feel this specific emotion, what is that? What does that feel like? What do I want to do in that emotion? What am I wanting to not do in that emotion? Do I want to hide from it? Do I want to lash out against it? Do I want, all of those things? You're just, you're allowing the opportunity to look at it from the outside. But tell me, what are the most, available negative emotions to you? What do you find yourself feeling most often when you are uncomfortable and you're not comfortable with being uncomfortable? What are those emotions? Somebody says uncertainty. Yeah, I can get behind that one. Uncertainty usually looks like lack of clarity to me. Like, I'm not sure what direction to go to. I'm not sure what to do next, right? Because the fear is maybe I don't know what to do, or I'm going to do it wrong. Impatience. That is a huge one. It's the idea that like things need to be happening faster, or I don't like what's happening now, or giving that opportunity to just be at whatever pace is available can be difficult, right? So you can ask yourself, why am I impatient? What am I having a hard time? What am I disagreeing with in the pace of what's happening? And that can maybe give clarity to deeper questions to ask. If I'm uncomfortable with the pace of this, is there something else I need to decide to bring it to my pace? Somebody else says self-criticism, right? And that is a really big one for everyone. I think that is something that we're taught to do from very early ages, is to see how we're doing it wrong. It's a weird thing that parents are in this position of teaching children how to move through life, right? We're these guides, but in that, frequently we're like, oh, you need to know you're doing this wrong. It's like, oh, this isn't the right way. This leads to conflict. People don't like that. You got to do it this way. So somehow in the guiding, I know that I have struggled with this a lot, is instead of saying you're doing this well, do more of it. It's, oh, you got to know that this isn't the way to do it. And so we start looking at ourselves. How am I doing it wrong? How am I doing it wrong? I'm going to do it wrong. I always do it wrong. And when that's the only feedback we get, that's the only feedback we hear in our minds. And we sort of sweep over the rest of it. And that can be really uncomfortable. It's interesting. I had an employer once who was like, I don't give a lot of praise because I expect you to do things well. Well, look, I mean, I'm the one that wants to know how to do it, and I'll do it well. I am number 3. I wanted to avoid all the conflict. I wanted to do it right the first time so that no one was angry, right? So it was interesting because I didn't get any feedback that I was doing it right. I was constantly on the scan for what I was doing wrong. I didn't get a lot of feedback about doing it wrong either, because I was a pretty conscientious employee, but because I got no feedback, I just always was in the how am I doing it wrong mode. And that's scarcity, right? That feels terrible. It feels like I'm always going to do it wrong if that's all I'm looking for. And that truly is what I want to share with you with this negative emotion. When you only look at negative emotion as wrong, then you don't get to see the availability of what it could offer. You don't get to see why you're there. You just get to see that it's terrible that you're there. And when you're only looking at the whole, it's terrible, the wrongness of it. You don't scan for what is going well or what it could be or what could be a solution. You only see, oh, that's bad, get away. So the intention of being there with the negative emotion actually gives you the freedom to get out of it quickly and cleaner. So thank you for being here today. I'm going to close with that, and know that if this has piqued your interest in any way, I'd love to chat with you further about it. You can the recording will be on YouTube, and I have a calendar for new clients to schedule a complimentary session to really look at how does this play out in your life, and how could life coaching help you find solutions. So I look forward to seeing you all next week, and thank you for being here today.